Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. International Business Times, Trump mulling Julian Assange's pardon days before leaving White House. This is just a couple of hours ago. There's a development in this story, but I think that there's something more to this than meets the eye. I actually do think momentum is building for President Trump to do something absolutely phenomenal, something that everyone on the planet will love and admire him for. This is not only, his legacy is already cemented as one of the great U.S. presidents. Okay, media went after a lot of great presidents. Okay, we can go through the list of presidents and see which leaders had to deal with media, apoplectic, seething, fuming contempt from newspapers and journalists. There are a number of presidents. Trump is awesome. First president to step foot in North Korea. Reversed U.S. foreign policy, which is horrendous, like interventions and regime changes and quagmires that we're still in because of Bush and President Obama. We had record low unemployment. Signed the First Step Act. Allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, made that funding permanent, did more for HBCUs than any Democratic president, including President Obama, went after corrupt intelligence chiefs. So, I mean, he's a great president. If he does this, which I think that he will, I'm hoping he will, he'll cement his legacy as, by far, one of the great U.S. presidents, one of the greatest leaders we've ever had. He never worked with Russia, and neither did Assange. The whole thing was fabricated and made up. They didn't even go after this publisher for working or conspiring alongside Russian intelligence officials. But let's just read this. Trump mulling Julian Assange's pardon days before leaving White House. This is a developing story, but here, this is International Business Times. President Donald Trump's term is nearly over. Coming next month, okay, Biden will be the next, okay. But even these last few days, Trump is making headlines all over from claiming, but there's an unexpected surprise from the outgoing president, whose final actions will be remembered by all. Only days after Edward Snowden had urged Trump to pardon Julian Assange, reports are coming in that the U.S. president is actually doing it. According to unconfirmed reports, President Trump is going to pardon Assange. This is fantastic. I wrote, you can go to hagoodman.com, hit subscribe to this channel, but go to hagoodman.com, subscribe to my newsletter. You can see my writing on The Hill, The Huffington Post Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Roanoke Times, The Federalist, and you can see I wrote 3 articles in the Times of Israel. I wrote 3 articles. One is in the Daily Caller, in the Daily Caller as well. In the Daily Caller, Free Julian, and then another Daily Caller article, President Trump should pardon Assange. That was years ago. In the Times of Israel, Julian Assange is a tzaddik and deserves freedom. So that is a word in Hebrew, in Judaism, a word describing a very noble, heroic, courageous, beautiful soul, a person that does good deeds. Democrats don't like him simply because he published their dirty laundry. That's it. You're talking about the most petulant. And this is a conundrum that the left faces, because there's people on the far left who don't like empire and all that. That's fine. I'm voting for President Trump because he's opposed by the neoconservatives. He's opposed by the Lincoln Project. So you'd think the far left would like Trump, especially on foreign policy. But that's a whole other story. But it's a conundrum for many people who support Julian Assange, because you know that President Trump is going after Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, and all of them. You know that there's a Durham probe, Durham special counsel now that can't be terminated, going after all of these people who fabricated the whole Russian nonsense. Trump never worked with Russia, neither did Julian Assange. Nobody did. Want to know why? Mueller found no evidence that anyone conspired alongside intelligence officials of any country, including Russia. The only people who actually worked alongside Russia intelligence officials are the people who outsourced Christopher Steele, Clinton, the DNC. The Christopher Steele, a Steele dossier has been championed, or was championed before people found out. I mean, it was always a document that was complete garbage and nonsense. But for the longest time, they said, well, even Russian intelligence, an active Russian intelligence official was helped compile the dossier. Well, who do you think paid Christopher Steele to reach out to an active Russian intelligence official? That was the Democratic Party. And there's even, it's just unbelievable. But this is an ongoing story. Share this segment everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Get this segment viral. I wrote 3 articles, and that was my, modest contribution to trying to get this man free. Look, what happened to Assange can happen to any journalist at the Washington Post. Want to know why? Really quickly, before I continue with that article, there's something called the Washington Post Secure Drop. I think it's called Secure Drop. Okay. Secure Drop, Washington Post. How to share documents and news tips with the Post. Okay, so maximize your data security, confidential tips. So this is encrypted email. This is exactly what Assange and this is exactly what he's being persecuted for. Well, the Washington Post has something called Secure Drop. It's on the Washington Post website. Let me read this to you. What is Secure Drop? The Washington Post Secure Drop is a discreet way for readers to share messages and materials with our journalists. It offers great security and anonymity that conventional email and web forums. It offers greater security and anonymity than conventional email and web forums. How do I use it? Secure Drop relies on Tor, an application designed to encrypt your communication and obscure your computer's IP address in order to use Secure Drop. So they're telling the world, the Washington Post, hey, you know what? You can send us classified intelligence, or you can send us information, what steps are taken to protect my privacy and anonymity? Nearly all did. So other fine print. So these are the sources, and by the way, almost every source they have is against Trump for the past 4 years. Not one source talking about Caligula, Biden's son. Not one source talking about corruption linked to Biden and his family, his brother, his son. The whole thing's a racket, okay? But my point is, even the Washington Post has something called Secure Drop. So it's like, that's what WikiLeaks did, or does. That's exactly what... They're both publications. They're both publishers. Assange has been deemed a publisher in a court of law in Europe. I believe it was in London. So they're going after... If Daniel Ellsberg is... he had a movie about him. I think Spielberg did a movie about him. Rightfully so. Daniel Ellsberg is a hero. But Assange is a hero as well. He published information, both detrimental to both Republicans and Democrats. The difference is, when Democrats look in the mirror, it's like Medusa looking into the mirror. They turn to stone because they can't possibly fathom that they're that corrupt. So the DNC emails were published, and when they were published, it was a window into the inner workings of the Democratic Party. They cheated Bernie Sanders. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. Notice how any mention of the email is now linked to Russian disinformation or Russian interference. There was no direct evidence. President Obama, Brennan, Clapper, all of them, they never had any evidence that Russia worked to infiltrate the DNC or to publish the emails. They indicted 18 Russian intelligence officials based on Company 1. Look up the indictment. The indictment lists Company 1 as the reason 18 Russian intelligence officials were indicted. Company 1 was outsourced yet again by the Democratic Party. I have been saying for 4 years that they purchased their own myth. Democrats bought with money their own myth, their own intelligence, tinfoil, hoax, and bogus myth. They purchased it. It was like going to Target or Walmart and purchasing something, a jacket. They purchased their own myth. They actually purchased it. Like in a store, you're buying something. They actually just purchased and bought and paid for their own myth. They had a Steele dossier they paid for. They had a third-party tech firm they outsourced. They used that third-party tech firm, which, by the way, in Congress said that there was no evidence of anything, that they didn't have direct evidence. Nobody has direct evidence because none of the players in this tinfoil hat saga want to be sued. Brennan, Comey, Clapper, Strzok, McCabe, the third-party tech firm Democrats outsourced that they used to indict 18 intelligence officials in Russia. Nobody wants to... The ODNI report says we're highly to moderately confident. Can't sue us. That's why John Brennan said, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. So, I mean, that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking at a situation where this entire thing was used against Trump. And what better way for the president, for Trump, to give the entire corrupt, nasty, disgusting machine a gigantic middle finger? And you're going to hear, and just today, wasn't it interesting? Just interestingly today, we were infiltrated by hackers from other countries. Oh my God. Russian hackers suspecting a cyber attack. Well, gee, isn't that interesting? Right where the Cozy Bear, the Cozy Bear group. It's the Cozy Bears are at it again. It has to be from the Kremlin because, the Cold War's been over for 20 plus years. No, 20 years. President Obama said the 80s want their foreign policy back to Romney. These people have Democrats have zero concept of history, zero concept of value system. They're the most disingenuous, dishonest hypocrites. It could be Tara Reade and Kavanaugh. Tara Reade with Biden. Don't silence. Don't believe Kavanaugh. Oh my God. And then you look at Clinton, misogyny, sexism, and look what they did to Melissa Carone, a whistleblower for President Trump in Michigan, with 1,000 affidavits, 1,000 whistleblowers. But ladies and gentlemen, Julian Assange, what he did was simply publish information. He didn't break any laws. President Obama already basically pardoned Chelsea Manning. So then why are they going after Assange? They're going after Assange because he helped Chelsea Manning, helped her acquire the emails. The indictments on Assange have nothing to do with conspiring alongside Russia. Nothing. So they don't have anything on that. They don't have any evidence on that. They want retribution. Liberals are the most dangerous and volatile and malicious and petulant groups of people. They just want retribution. They lost. They think that the truth about them helped them lose in 2016. They suppressed any information about Biden's son prior to the election. Now everyone is suppressing information about malarkey that, and you just have these, you have media that it is like liberals run political discourse in this country. And if they hear something they don't like, they want to silence it. If they fabricate their own tinfoil hat fantasies, they do so with experts and intelligence officials and really trusted people, and they make credible allegations, and they don't need direct evidence. No. They don't need direct evidence. They just need credible allegations. But here, according to unconfirmed reports, President Trump is going to pardon Assange. The information comes from Pastor Mark Burns, who's believed to have had access to Trump in the past. Just as the news broke, people jumped to react if it was indeed true. The White House of President Trump has yet to confirm the report. No statement or tweet in this matter has been released so far. Although unconfirmed, the idea of Trump mulling Assange's pardon is not entirely unbelievable. Trump had previously considered pardoning both Snowden and Assange. And so Pastor, the pastor just recently then recanted what he stated. He said, no, you know what, it was an unreliable source, Pastor Mark Burns. But I don't really believe that. They could have said, hey, Pastor Burns, it's probably best you recant this because President Trump doesn't want. But it's interesting. The Cozy Bears, They went after us, the Russians, today, and it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. My God Almighty, it happened. Why after a month after the election? They're always after us. It's the Russians. And so, but then today also, Pastor Mark Burns says that President Trump's going to pardon Julian Assange. This is obviously, or could be, probably not, a confluence of events that shows that President Trump shouldn't pardon Assange. Because if the Cozy Bears are still after us, I mean, we can't pardon Assange. We have no direct evidence he worked with the Cozy Bears. But they're still after us. They're lurking. The Cozy Bears are lurking everywhere. The Kremlins. The Putins. Surely we can't revisit 2016 and pardon somebody who should be free for publishing information that the Washington Post would have published. Actually, the Washington Post did publish it. The Washington Post, the New York Times, BBC, The Guardian. The Guardian worked with or published information, the Snowden, everything with Snowden and Glenn Greenwald, and so this is really speaking truth to power. Like, Democrats pretend that the whistleblower against, I mean, you couldn't even say the whistleblower's name, which is hilarious, when it was impeachment against Trump, which they also fabricated. It was an impeachment based on an ellipsis. Democrats are composed of very intelligent individuals with positions of authority or power, deemed experts, and then they foment this absolute rubbish and nonsense and garbage. And they have the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, all of Hollywood, millions of scorned liberals everywhere, and they've legitimized their sensibilities. They have actually prosecuted people based solely upon the suspicion of good, morally superior liberals. That's it. They didn't have any evidence on Michael Flynn or Carter Page or President Trump or George Papadopoulos. Nothing. They got people on process crimes. And then you have Democrats saying defund police. Yet another. Democrats don't like police, but they love the FBI or intelligence services when they work for them. But I mean, I support law enforcement. I'm part of the 1199 Foundation. You could see here I support the California Highway Patrol. God bless them. They do everything. They're a law enforcement agency. If your car breaks down, if you get into an accident, God forbid, they help you. So California Highway Patrol is amazing. I support them. And I respect and I support law enforcement. Now, every once in a while, you have James Comey, and you have Clapper, and you have Brennan, and you have Strzok, and you have McCabe, and you have Kleinsmith, who just got indicted. So you have an apparatus that just doesn't want to hear information that they're hiding. Now you have the Washington Post that hides behind Julian Assange and says, well, we'll publish information only if it helps Democrats. You know, the days where the Washington Post and the New York Times were objective, somewhat objective, maybe had a liberal leaning, but still objective. Media is not like, they're not the umpires that they use. They don't just call balls and strikes. They basically are wearing the opposing team's jersey. And they pretend to be umpires, but they're not. They're wearing any team jersey that is against President Trump. So it's the Lincoln Project. Oh yeah, good people. Even though they're the people who got us into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. But I wrote that article in the Times of Israel because it's true. In Judaism, if you have somebody who's courageous and noble and who speaks truth to power and sheds light onto the world, like Assange did, he should be free, shouldn't be persecuted. What did this man do? I want to know what Trump did to deserve the vitriol and venom. I mean, record low unemployment, removing Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. What, his tweets? President Obama destroyed Libya. He gets away with it. But what did Assange do? I want to know what he did. What did this man do? What did this man do to deserve such treatment from the UK, from the world? To my Australian viewers, I love Australia, but the government of Australia should help Julian Assange. He's an Australian citizen. And what did this man do besides publish emails that were not classified? The DNC emails weren't classified, and in terms of the classified emails pertaining to Chelsea Manning, President Obama already basically pardoned Chelsea Manning. So why are they still going after him? What did this man do? I want to know what this man did that's so horrible. They regurgitate. They're like, Democrats are like, Pavlovian dogs that like salivate when they hear Russian disinformation, Russian interference to Facebook ads. And it's complete nonsense. There's no direct evidence of anything. They've fabricated everything. That's why nobody has ever been charged with conspiring alongside Russia. That's even after the Mueller probe. Mueller's like, we found the evidence was insufficient. There was no evidence. Not only was the evidence insufficient, there was no evidence. So they never charged Assange on working with intelligence officials from Russia. Because he didn't. Almost certainly didn't. But then again, if Russian intelligence officials wanted to hack the DNC, then we don't have to worry about Russia, because the DNC doesn't have any classified intelligence. You know what does? Clinton's servers with top secret intel that were running on unencrypted software for 3 months. The first 3 months of her tenure as Secretary of State, when she almost certainly, along with Biden, selling access to the highest levels of the American government. That's why you get 85 donors giving $156 million. That's why you get Biden's son Caligula setting up meetings with Biden as he's a sitting vice president. What do you think these Democrats are like? No, you can't prove anything. Well, we have emails from a laptop. We don't know. Well, what did Assange do? The Clapper said he's worked with the Kremlins. Based on what evidence? Well, everybody agrees. Based on what evidence? This man is being persecuted for telling the truth. You teach children to tell the truth. You grow up every day, in your whole life. People tell you, tell the truth, tell the truth. So Assange tells the truth, and then that's it. And so this man is a hero, and Assange will be remembered, and hopefully has a long and prosperous life, and lives to over 100, and God bless him and his family. I know his mother, God bless her, is a wonderful human being. When I had Twitter, she said that I was a good writer, and it was very nice of her. This is when somebody made a disparaging remark about me because I was a Trump supporter. But anyway, Trump supporters support Assange more so than Democrats, a lot more so than Democrats. But anyway, the fuel of vitriol against Assange is all from the Democratic side. They say, this is happening under Trump's administration, and Trump this and Trump that. It's like, it would have been a million times worse under Clinton. And number one, number two, hopefully he pardons Assange. So, you know what? It's an ongoing story. I think something interesting is going to happen. And Pastor Mark Burns, I hope, initially, basically, told everyone, and then maybe had to recant because he was told, hey, you know what? Not today. Don't tell anyone today. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere, people. Share this segment everywhere. And God bless America. God bless President Trump. God bless Julian Assange. And God bless you. Thank you.